Good evening. Today, very controversial topic, the Sportster Gastank. This here is a 2016 Harley-Davidson Roadster. It's almost a complete Harley-Davidson. We're going to talk about the Harley-Davidson Sportster Gastank and how I'm about to cut it in half. But first, a brief history lesson on the Harley-Davidson Sportster. The Harley-Davidson Sportster was introduced in 1957. I'm just going off the top of my head with this, so bear with me. And it was a response to a growing, the English were making better, more spirited, fun bikes. And Harley-Davidson, wanting to tap into that market, made a lighter, more elemental motorcycle and had a small gas tank. This is pretty much the exact same size. It's 2.2 gallons, which brings you absolutely nowhere. Not necessarily a bad thing. So this shape, I don't know what it is about it. It just looks good. And it was used on all kinds of Harley-Davidsons. Choppers, Evel Knievels, Sportster, and it basically just hung around forever. Now here's the controversy. Sometime in the 90s, I think it was the 90s, they had a brilliant idea. We're gonna take the same shape and we're gonna make it bigger. They basically stretched it this way and made the bottom round, and they made it bigger this way, and they threw off all the dimensions and proportionality of this tank versus the bike, and frankly, I think it's hideous. This bike originally came with that tank. I would be damned if I didn't have a Sportster gas tank on here. Well, you know what I did? I ditched it, I got this tank, and then I started getting stuck, or really getting close to stuck. I had to like carry gas in my pocket. So I have a brilliant idea. I'm gonna make it bigger. This is how you stretch a Harley-Davidson Sportster gas tank, according to me. This is gonna be the bottom piece, and then this one is gonna be the top piece. So I'm gonna cut the bottom out of this one, take the top off of this thing, slap it on the top, weld her up, hole in the top, and let's get to work. But first, I'm gonna cover this thing because make sure you flush all of the gasoline from the gas tank before you. I wanna cut the top of this off because I'm gonna use this on the top of the other gas tank. I'm gonna make one gas tank out of two because, anyway, I want to extend all the way down to here, and then I want to flat line all the way over here. They make a thing that like perfectly traces flat lines on flat tables, but I don't have one of those, so I'm just gonna use my hand. Looks kind of flat to me. Here we have the new tank top. See? Around here. So we take this thing off, and I'm actually going to trim just above this line, give myself some extra space to work with. Trim this guy just like this, straight up, because this is going to be wrapped up into this space here. I'll just take this, hammer it into the position where I need it to fill this void, which is gonna be up here. Guess what happens next? So you guys didn't see this part, but I went over to Federal Moto to blast the inside of this gas tank, and it was Michael's birthday, and I have a wicked hangover right now. So sorry for the difference in tone and appearance. We're gonna get this thing welded up. So you're not just gonna zip this thing all the way around and weld it up, because even though this is pretty tough steel, this will warp if you just weld it all the way around, and it will ruin everything. So you gotta tack it here, tack it here, tack it here, and after every time, cool it off, and you'll try and mitigate the warping that is definitely gonna happen. There's gonna be a little bit of tapping later on with the hammer, but it should work out fine. And of course, I'm gonna do a little bit of filler because I don't do perfect metal work. If you do more perfect metal work, be sure to leave a comment in the section below about how much better your metal work is. So several hours of connecting the dots later, and you have one completely welded gas tank. And we're gonna grind down all the high spots with our trusty angle grinder. If I had a spirit animal, it would be an angle grinder. But you want to be very careful, and you do not grind into the sheet metal here, and you do not grind into the sheet metal here. You are only taking down the high spots of the weld itself. Be very careful. The only thing is there's always one or two or 10 little holes somewhere. You can't see them. There's only one way to check it, and that's to pressure test it. It doesn't take a lot of pressure, so don't pressure yourself. Just get a little bit of the sticky tape here. This Gorilla Tape, this shit is tough as shit. That should be able to hold about 10 PSI, 15 PSI. So right now we are under pressure, and I can already feel a leak before I even put on my trusty laundry detergent gear. You put this over the weld, and this stuff gets really bubbly, and it will make little air bubbles where there's a leak. Didn't even have to put it over here. I can feel it leaking. It's a big hole. And by big, I mean you can't even see it. See that? It's making bubbles there. Now that I've sealed this whole thing up and I've checked it for any leaks, there's just one last step, and this is mainly a security precaution, and that is tank liner. Now, there's some controversy over this. People say it doesn't work well, it's not formulated for, it says right here that it's specified for that, and the most important thing is you gotta follow the instructions. You can't just pour it in and let it pool to one side, then you're gonna have issues. Make sure that it gets all around the seamed areas. This was a pretty straightforward, easy gas tank stretch hack thing. You can do this with any gas tank. You can cut a pie slice in here. If you can see a pie taken out of a gas tank to narrow it, or if you see a section that you want gone, you can literally cut it out and weld it all back together. I mean, there's gonna be a little bit of filler here, but there's filler on every single gas tank, even ones that come from the factory. It's just kind of how it goes. When my metal skills get better and I don't have to use any filler, then I guess my life will be complete. But until then, I'm gonna keep cutting up gas tanks. This is how you do it.